This is a list of some of the most famous and influential people in America right now. What if I told you they all attended the same party? Who would you guess brought them all together? Is it Drake, Beyonce, Leo? Well, if you guessed any one of those, or any one of these names for that matter, you would be wrong. In fact, it might be a name you never heard of before. But what type of person you never heard of could throw a party with such a star-studded cast? A party so exclusive that 150 people tried to break into, and a party so expensive that the average watch cost 6 figures. Well, the man who made it all happen, the man who got Quavo shooting the shit with Charli D'Amelio, is none other than Michael Rubin. If your introduction to Mr. Rubin was him awkwardly posting next to your favorite celeb in the Hamptons, you might have assumed a lot about him. You might have assumed he was just another trust fund kid that grew up around celebrities, or that he's never worked particularly hard in life. But these assumptions couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, out of all 350 athletes, actors, and rappers who attended Michael Rubin's white party, you could argue he outworked every last one of them. Michael G. Rubin was born into a middle-class Jewish family in the Philadelphian suburbs. The son of a psychiatrist and veterinarian, was never good at very much growing up. Always picked last for sports and never did well in school. The one thing he did have was business.
I was like the shittiest student in the world, the worst athlete in the world. But like I always just had an insane work ethic and a little bit of common sense. Those two work pretty well together.
At 9 years old, he had a makeshift snow shoveling business. At 12, he started a ski tuning shop out of his parents' basement that by 13 amounted him $25,000. By the time he was 14, he opened his own retail ski shop called Mike's Ski and Sport, and by 15, before he was even old enough to drive, bought himself a Porsche.
My dad says, Paulette, Michael has something to tell you. And I said, Mom, I bought a Porsche. She starts laughing and walks out of the room. And I remember my dad says, Paulette, I think you ought to come back here. And then it was screaming at the top of her lungs when she realized that I was not kidding. So I did have that at 15.
At this point, young Michael could do no wrong. I mean, what other 15-year-old kid is buying themselves a Porsche with the money they earned from their own retail store? His parents were still skeptical as they wanted him to focus on grades and getting into a good college, but how could they argue with a kid driving around a nicer car than they were? In the fall following his 16th birthday, Michael stocked up $200,000 in ski equipment, preparing for his biggest year to date. Having done $500,000 in sales the year prior, Michael was hoping to use the profits to expand his ski empire and open up more stores in the area. But his dreams quickly turned to nightmares as he failed to account for one key factor: the snow. In the winter of 1988, it just didn't snow in Pennsylvania. 1 year removed from his best season ever, Michael's booming business had now crumbled beneath him. The following year, he was sued over 100 times and was forced to hire a bankruptcy lawyer. Every ski vendor in the tri-state area wanted their money back, but Michael was dead broke. The one thing he did have, though, was his age.
We have this meeting with the creditors and all these people who want to kill me because I can't pay the $200,000.
Yeah.
And someone says, by the way, how old are you? At this point, I said, I'm 16. Everyone, they look like ghosts. I guess you couldn't incur debt till you were 18 legally.
That's clutch.
And so the $200,000, they said, hey, if you can pay us 18 cents on the dollar, we'll settle with you. And so I went to my mom and dad and said, hey, can I borrow $38,000, which was a fortune to them. And they said, yes, on one condition. You agree to shut the business down and go to college.
In 1990, the now 18-year-old Michael packed his belongings for Villanova University. This would last all of 6 weeks before he dropped out to pursue his business expansion. It was a somewhat risky decision at the time, but the payoff would be huge. After dropping out, he started an athletic equipment closeout company named KPR Sports. The company would prove to be wildly successful, and 3 years later, when Michael was just 21 years old, the company did $10 million in profit. Fast forward 5 years later, the now 26-year-old's company was still thriving. But he was starting to realize the days of buying and selling things over the phone were numbered. So, he set his sights on the future of commerce: e-commerce. In 1998, he started a brand new company called GSI Commerce. Using his expertise in business and sales, he was able to rapidly grow the company, and just a decade later sold the company to eBay for billions. In 2010, he was featured on season 1 of CBS's Undercover Boss, the show where CEOs disguised as entry-level employees go to work alongside their own unsuspecting staff. Over the years, the show has borne witness to some hilarious worker-boss interactions, and Michael's episode was no different.
I promise you I'm here to help you, and I want to help you, and your business is really important to us. So just
waiting on a credit. You can do what you saw. Do you see the email that was sent to me on November 28th?
We definitely see.
Yes, I see the email.
What I was told?
Yeah.
I have to put her on
I
hold.
absolutely,
You're not
I
getting
absolutely see the email. Can you hold on 1 second, please?
You have to sound confident at this point and put her in her place.
But-
Yes, she's had a bad experience.
But
She
don't we want to
doesn't.
make her happy?
We can't make her happy. Hi, Elizabeth. I understand the situation you're going through, and I apologize greatly that you're having these issues right
I
now.
don't think you really do understand.
I definitely do, actually. You're not letting me talk. You're not letting me talk, so I can't help you, Elizabeth.
Alright.
I'm sorry that you're having a hard time. No, that's not what I said at all. You just haven't let me finish a sentence.
There wasn't a lot that Danielle was doing right. She had an attitude with customers.
And then I said we would do an after-the-fact credit. Would you like me to repeat it?
She didn't want to make the customer happy.
Okay, corporate's number is 1-800. Okay, she hung up.
Obviously, I didn't want to blow my cover. So she's actually getting lucky that the show was being filmed, because if she wasn't, she'd be walked out of here today.
After regaining control of the company, Michael acquired the Florida-based sports retailer Fanatics. In nearly 3 decades of one business success after another, Fanatics proved to be the biggest one yet. What started out as a small sports e-commerce website exploded into a sports juggernaut that is now worth $31 billion. Rubin orchestrated deals with more than 300 professional leagues and teams, most notably his 10-year deal with the NFL and Nike, giving Fanatics exclusive rights to sell all NFL-branded products. Being the main player in the company's growth, Rubin himself wasn't neglected from their success. In 2023, his net worth was calculated at $11.4 billion, placing him firmly inside the Forbes 400 and cementing himself amongst the world's elite. So where does Michael Rubin go from here? When you have more money than Mark Rubin and Donald Trump combined, who else is left to surpass? Well, there might be one more man left to beat.
And this is
Michael Rubin's White Party.
Yo.
We are reaching for the stars, but